The morning Aarav and Mehak arrived at the old house, winter sunlight slowly melted through the fog like warm honey, falling over the ancient wooden gate that had probably seen decades of weather, laughter, tears, and silent stories no one remembered anymore. The cold air held a soft bite, but the excitement inside the family warmed everything. Aarav placed his hand on the iron gate, its rusted texture rough beneath his palm, and pushed it open with a deep, echoing creak that seemed to say, "Welcome back to life." As they stepped inside, the front yard greeted them with a wild, untouched beauty. Long grass swayed with the breeze, tiny white flowers danced in clusters, vines crawled up the cracked stone walls, and a golden ray of sunlight rested gently on the old tree in the center as if highlighting its importance. Rania and Zayn sprinted ahead, their laughter bouncing against the walls as they chased each other through the garden. The wild weeds brushed their ankles, and the crisp morning dew soaked the tips of their shoes, but nothing could dull their joy. Mehak paused on the broken stone path, taking in every inch of the house with her soft, thoughtful gaze. The balcony railing was chipped, the windows were covered in dust thick enough to hide the sun, and the wooden porch had cracks like old wrinkles, but she didn't see flaws. She saw a place waiting to be loved. She touched the door gently, her fingers feeling the cold metal handle, and whispered, "This home just needs warmth." The moment Aarav pushed the front door open, a gust of old, trapped air rushed out, carrying the earthy scent of forgotten years. Sunlight filtered through the dirty windows, creating long shadows across the floor. Dust floated in the beams of light like tiny golden particles suspended in time. The living room felt like a diary that had been closed for too long, silent, waiting, hopeful. Mehak walked slowly, her shoes clicking softly against the wooden floorboards that groaned in response. She ran her hand across the faded wallpaper, imagining vibrant colors, frames, laughter-filled evenings, festivals, birthdays, and quiet nights where she and Aarav would sit together, wrapped in blankets, sharing warm tea. Aarav followed her, watching her expression with adoration. "What do you see?" he asked softly. Mehak whispered, "Our future." Aarav wrapped his arms around her waist from behind, pulling her into a warm hug. "Then this is home," he murmured into her hair. They explored room after room, the hallway narrow but charming, the kitchen old but full of potential, the bedrooms dusty but spacious, the attic dark yet inviting. Every corner felt like a blank page ready to be rewritten. In the backyard, the kids discovered an old wooden swing hanging from the giant tree. Despite its age, it still swayed when touched, as if waiting for children to return. Mehak stood beneath the branches, imagining fairy lights wrapped around them, late-night talks, morning coffees, and long hugs under warm sunlight. By afternoon, the family sat in the middle of the empty living room, drinking tea from paper cups. No furniture. No decorations. No warmth yet. But the energy, full of dreams, lit up the room brighter than any lamp. Mehak leaned her head on Aarav's shoulder, and he kissed her forehead gently. "This house isn't just a place," he whispered. "It's the beginning of our next life." She smiled softly, "And I want to build every moment of it with you." Behind them, the sunlight glowed brighter, as if blessing the promise they had just made. The next morning, the house woke to a completely different kind of music, actual music. Aarav had brought a huge speaker and placed it in the middle of the living room, insisting that no renovation could ever happen without a good playlist. Pop songs, romantic classics, and random energetic beats echoed through the halls, chasing away decades of silence. Mehak organized all cleaning supplies neatly: paint buckets, brushes, rollers, sponges, glue guns, gloves, sandpapers, brooms, and then laughed because the kids immediately messed everything by running through it like wild animals. Rania started peeling wallpaper, carefully pulling it off while making faces whenever dust hit her nose. Zayn pretended he was a superhero, drawing imaginary symbols on walls with a pencil before painting over them dramatically like a warrior marking his territory. Mehak swept the floor while Aarav dusted the shelves, and every time he wiped something, a thick puff of dust exploded into the air, making him cough dramatically. Mehak laughed, teasing, "You're allergic to work." Aarav clutched his heart like a wounded poet, only allergic to your attacks, making her roll her eyes lovingly. As they cleaned the hallway together, Aarav splashed soapy water toward Mehak by accident, and she immediately responded with full revenge mode, spraying him with the spray bottle until he raised his hands in surrender. The kids joined with bowls of water, turning the hallway into a mini water fight stadium. Laughter echoed through the entire house, pure, joyful, limitless. When it came time to paint, the chaos doubled. Mehak dipped her brush in soft pink and gently tapped Aarav's cheek, leaving a tiny streak. Aarav stood still like a statue, eyes wide, pretending she had just committed a crime. Then, war. A full-on paint battle erupted. Rania dragged paint rollers across Aarav's back, Zayn stamped his hands on Mehak's shirt, Aarav streaked yellow across Mehak's neck, and Mehak painted a giant blue stripe across Arav's arm. The walls were supposed to be clean, but the family ended up looking like walking rainbows. By evening the house had transformed, walls freshly painted, floors swept, shelves scrubbed, windows cleaned until sunlight poured in beautifully. Exhausted, they all collapsed in the living room on a giant blanket picnic. Mehak fed the kids sandwiches while Aarav lay with his head in her lap, eyes closed, smiling. She stroked his hair, whispering, "We're getting there." Aarav murmured, "As long as we're together, it will always be beautiful." They fell asleep in that very moment under new walls, new dreams, and newly strengthened love. One quiet afternoon, Mehak climbed to the attic with a broom in hand, determined to finally conquer the last untouched corner of the house. The attic door creaked open, releasing a musty scent mixed with old wood and forgotten time. Sunlight came through a tiny window, illuminating floating dust like drifting stars. As she cleaned, her foot hit something solid behind a stack of broken furniture and torn curtains. She moved everything aside until a beautifully carved wooden trunk emerged as if appearing from another era. She sat cross-legged and opened it slowly. Inside, she found stacks of handwritten letters tied with faded ribbons, flowers pressed inside some envelopes, delicate handwriting swirling across old paper. She opened one carefully. The words inside were raw, romantic, timeless, two people writing about holding hands on rainy nights, sneaking out for late walks, celebrating small joys, comforting each other during difficult times, dreaming about building a family, and promising to love each other until the house grows old with us. Mehak's eyes shimmered. She felt like she had found the heartbeat of the house. Aarav climbed up moments later, stopping in his tracks when he saw the scene, Mehak surrounded by soft sunlight, old letters, and a magical calmness. He sat beside her, leaning close as she read one letter aloud. He listened quietly, occasionally smiling or whispering, "How beautiful." They opened letter after letter, discovering a love story that had lived inside these walls long before theirs began. Mehak rested her head on Aarav's shoulder and whispered, "This house was always meant for love." Aarav held her hand gently, replying, "And now it has ours." They created a memory wall in the hallway, framing family pictures, wedding snaps, the kids' baby photos, drawings, anniversary notes, and right at the center, they placed one of the old letters they found. It became a symbol of the house's legacy of love. That night, the family climbed to the rooftop with blankets, snacks, and warm sweaters. The sky turned purple, then deep blue, then sprinkled with thousands of bright stars. Rania curled up against Mehak's lap while Zayn slept on Aarav's chest. Aarav placed his arm around Mehak's shoulders, pulling her close. The wind brushed softly across their faces, and everything felt peaceful, infinite, familiar. Mehak whispered, "Our love feels deeper now." Aarav kissed her gently, "Because we're continuing a story that began long before us." Over the next few weeks, the house bloomed like a flower touched by love. Each day a new corner transformed, walls brightened, lights warmed, floors polished, memories sealed. The living room became a soft and cozy heaven with cream walls, warm lamps, fairy lights twinkling on shelves, framed memories lining the walls, fluffy cushions on the sofa, plants in ceramic pots filling every corner with life, and a handmade rug Mehak chose because its colors feel like happiness. The kitchen turned into the heart of the home, wooden shelves neatly organized, jars of spices labeled beautifully, a tiny herb garden on the windowsill, warm lights above the counter, and the smell of fresh cookies filling the room every weekend. Aarav built a secret reading nook for Mehak with his own hands, a swing chair hanging from the ceiling, a golden lamp, soft blankets, and shelves filled with her favorite books. The kids' room evolved into a dreamland, cloud-shaped lamps, rainbow curtains, a chalkboard wall for drawings, soft rugs, stuffed animals on shelves, and a mini indoor playhouse that became their magical world. Even the hallway changed, decorated with frames, soft lighting, wooden shelves with tiny plants, and scented candles. The backyard became a paradise, lanterns hanging from trees, a wooden bench the kids painted, flower beds bursting with color, a vegetable patch, and fairy lights glowing around the giant tree. Mehak loved sitting there with tea while Aarav hugged her from behind. They danced in the backyard during sunsets, watched fireflies at night, watered plants together, and talked about dreams for the future. Their love grew deeper with every brushstroke, every nail hammered, every wall painted. They kissed in the hallway, shared warm hugs in the kitchen, teased each other while gardening, slow danced on the porch, and laughed together late into the night. Their home wasn't just renovated, it was reborn with their love, effort, devotion, and dreams. When the renovation was finally complete, Aarav planned a surprise that would stay in Mehak's heart forever. One evening he asked her to take the kids out for ice cream. As soon as they left, he got to work, dimmed the main lights, turned on soft fairy lights that wrapped around the staircase, glowed around the living room, framed the windows, and illuminated the entire hallway. Lanterns lit up the backyard, candles flickered on each step, and soft romantic music filled the house gently. In the backyard, under the huge tree, Aarav set up a dreamy dinner white tablecloth, rose petals scattered beautifully, floating candles in glass jars, warm lanterns above like stars, and a projector playing a montage of their renovation journey, paint fights, decorating moments, silly videos, tight hugs, sleepy kids, and sweet glances between him and Mehak. When Mehak returned, she stepped inside and froze. Her eyes widened. Her breath hitched. The house glowed like a fairy tale. Tears filled her eyes, pure happiness. Aarav walked toward her, holding a handwritten note. "You didn't just fix this house, you healed every part of my heart. This home breathes because of your love." Mehak hugged him tightly, her tears falling on his shoulder. Aarav held her face and kissed her softly. He led her to the backyard, where he pulled her into a slow, warm dance beneath glowing lanterns. Their bodies swayed gently, hearts beating in sync, eyes locked with deep love. The kids ran out cheering, hugging them tightly, making the moment even more magical. They spent the night eating, laughing, dancing, watching memories on the projector, telling stories, and celebrating their new chapter. As the night deepened, the house glowed like a dream, soft lights, warm love, quiet happiness. Their home wasn't just beautiful, it was alive with their hearts. Their love didn't just survive. It blossomed. It glowed. It became a story the house would protect forever.